Welcome back to my channel. Celeb Buzz, please share and subscribe and press the bell icon for new updates.
Oh, McQueen. Crazy McQueen. In the world of American movies and TV, James Garner made a special place for himself as the perfect everyday hero. He was an actor whose easy charm and real personality made him love and be people of all ages, from his first big role as the sneaky gambler Brett Maverick to his later hit as theater private detective Jim Rockford. Garner had that special skill to make tough characters feel like good friends. His Oklahoma background and real humble attitude came through in his acting that never felt fake or paton, creating a screen image built on being relatable rather than fake glamour. But under this friendly outside was a man with strict work, standards and little patience for the dramatic showing off that often made up Hollywood stardom. McQueen and I got along pretty good. McQueen looked at me kind of like an older brother, and he didn't want to have much to do with me till he got in trouble. Then he'd call. Garner's regular way of doing his job learned through years of hard work and military service often clashed with coworkers who liked more flashy or self-praising ways. These weren't small fights born from jealousy or competition, but big disagreements about what real acting and work behavior should be. I don't want to work for those people anymore. And they made a mistake, broke my contract, and so I K-led them on it and got out of the contract. The fights we look at today show how Garner's promise to honest storytelling and teamwork. Respects meets put him against author actors whose ways he saw ostacup, fake, or disrespectful to acting itself. These behind-the-scenes fights show us the character of a man who valued all stuff over show, honesty over image, and real talent over movie business politics. 6. George Peppard. George Peppard's never-ending chase for serious drama created an unavoidable friction with James Garner's practically approach to television stardom during the golden age of action adventure. The classically trained actor, forever trying to distance himself from his commercial success on the A-Team, saw television work as a necessary evil rather than a respectable job, an attitude that directly went against Garner's pride in his medium and professionalism. The thinking dive became clear during industry events where both actors found themselves competing for similar roles in prestigious television movies. According to sources within The Hollywood Reporter, Peppard allegedly said he disliked what he saw was Garner's happiness with series work, believing that true artists should want more elevated material. Sound engineer Robert Martinez remembered, George had very strong opinions about television versus film hierarchy. He wasn't shy about expressing his belief that serious actors should be pursuing theatrical releases. The tension get worse when Peppard publicly questioned the artistic value of long-running television series, commenced that industry insiders interpreted as Sheehan. Criticism of Garner's commitment to The Rockford Files. Production manager Linda Stevens observed, George seemed to view Jim's success in television as settling for less, while Jim saw it as honest work that entertained millions of people. The professional relationship reached its lowest point when Peppard made remarks about actors who played it safe with comfortable television roles, instead of challenging themselves with demanding dramatic material. Garner later thought back, some folks think looking down on honest work makes them look more important. I'd rather entertain people than impress critics. This statement showed his belief that real acting was bigger than the medium's burst prestige. 5. Tony Curtis. Tony Curtis changed from Bronx Street Kid to Hollywood leading man created an unexpected source of professional tension with James Garner during their overlapping careers in Western productions. The former Bernard Schwartz, despite his undeniable screen charisma main box office appeal, Representative and Garner found fake about Hollywood's manufactured cowboy personalities, particularly when Curtis ventured into Western territory that Garner considered sacred ground. That friction first surfaced during the 1960s, somewhere in both actors were being considered for similar frontier roles that required authentic regional credibility. According to sources within Variety, Garner allegedly questioned Curtis' ability to convincingly portray Westerns for actors, feeling that the actor's urban background and polished delivery style fundamentally undermined through authenticity. These roles mandated dialect coach Patricia Romanocold T had very specific ideas about what made a believable cowboy. Tony's approach seemed as studied, too conscious of the camera. The philosophical disagreement became more pronounced when Curtis publicly discussed his preparation methods for Western roles, emphasizing technique over lived experience. Costume designer Frank Miller observed Tony approached characters, like he was putting together performance from the outside in, while Jim believed you had to carry that life in your bones. The professional relations reached its most strained point when Curtis made comments about the craft of acting that Garner interpreted as dismissive of natural authenticity. He later stated, "You can't fake knowing horses and dust and hard weather. Some things you either understand or you don't." This declaration highlighted Garner's belief that genuine Western heritage couldn't be manufactured through acting classes or costume fittings. 4. Rock Hudson's carefully built studio system image created a big clash with James Garner's promise to real authenticity. Hollywood's change from fake stardom to natural acting. It's a tall leading man despite his undeniable screen presence and romantic appeal showed everything Garner found fake about the old Hollywood. It's a machine that put image over real talent and planned charm over honest emotion. The creative item emerged during the late 1950s, somewhere in both actors were competing for similar romantic leading roles that required balancing masculine appeal with emotional vulnerability. According to sources within Film Comment, Garner allegedly expressed frustration with Hudson's reliance on studio modernity, feeling that the actor's performances lacked the spontaneity that made characters truly compelling. Cinematographer William Daniels recalled, "Rock had this polished perfection that looked great on camera, but Jim believed audiences could sense when something was too rehearsed, too controlled." The thinking dive became apparent when Hudson carefully managed public image contrasted sharply with Garner's preference for straightforward honesty in both his performances and personal conduct. Director George Stevens observed, "Rock represented the old system where everything was managed and calculated, while Jim was part of a new generation that valued authenticity over fake stuff." The professional tension reached its peak when Hudson made statements about the importance of maintaining professional mystery, comments that Garner interpreted as dismissive of genuine emotional connection with audiences. Kay later reflected, "People want to see real human beings up there, not perfect pictures. When you're too worried about looking good, you forget about buying good." This philosophy highlighted Garner's belief that authentic performance required vulnerability than manufactured perfection. 3. Burt Reynolds. Burt Reynolds' showing off toughness and self-consistent masculine posturing created an inevitable collision with James Garner's confidence and natural authority during the height of Bothaku's careers in action comedy productions. The mustached heartthrob, despite his box office dominance and indelible charisma, represented a brand of fake toughness that Garner found both fake and unnecessary, an industry where genuine presence would speak louder than theatrical showing off. The friction first became apparent during the 1970s when both actors were being considered for similar action hero roles that required balancing physical credibility with comedic timing. According to source within Entertainment Weekly, Garner allegedly Questioned Reynolds need to constantly project an image of supermasculinity, feeling that real strength came from quiet confidence rather than performative swagger. Stunt coordinator Hal Neame recalled, "Burt was always on, always performing this larger-than-life persona, while Jim just showed up and did the work without all the extra theatrics." The thinking disagreement intensified when Reynolds publicly discussed his approach to masculine characters, emphasizing imagined attitude over substance and authenticity. Production designer Jualves observed Burt seemed to believe that being a leading man meant constantly proving your masculinity, while Jim thought, "Relman didn't need to prove anything, Tony buddy." The professional relationship point when Reynolds made comments about the importance of maintaining a tough guy image both on and off screen. Garner later stated, "Real cowboys don't spend time telling everyone they're cowboys. If you have to work that hard to convince people you're tough, maybe you're not as tough as you think." This declaration encapsulates his belief that authentic masculinity was demonstrated through actions rather than attitude. 2. William Shatner. William Shatner's scumding theatrical presence and cinema-stealing tendencies created an inevitable clash with James Garner's steamworking approach and profession hullumity during their overlapping television's careers. The future, Captain Kirk, despite his undeniable screen magnetism and vocal power, showed a style of performance that Garner found by self-indulgent and disrespectful tough group nature of quality. Television production. The tension first emerged during the 1960s when both actors were establishing themselves as television leading men in competition and dramatic series. According to sources within TV Guide, Garner allegedly grew frustrated with Shatner's tendency to dominate scenes through sheer force of personality rather than serving the story's needs. Script supervisor Helen Morrison recalled, "Bill had this way of making every moment about his character, even when the scene called for group work, while Jim always looked for ways to make his co-stars better." The thinking dive became more pronounced when Shatner's opera-like delivery style contrasted sharply with Garner's naturalistic approach to dialogue and character development. Director Ralph Nelson observed, "Bill treated every line like it was Shakespeare, while Jim understood that television required a more intimate, conversational tone that respected the audience's intelligence." The professional friction reached its peak when Shatner made public statements about the importance of commending presence in television performance, comments that Garner interpreted as dismissive of collaboratively. He later reflected, "Good actors make everyone around them better. When you're too busy trying to be Thester, you forget you're supposed to be telling a story together." This philosophy highlighted Garner's belief that authentic leadership came through service rather than dominance. 1. Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando's revolutionary method acting approach and psychological intensity created a fundamental philosophical collision with James Garner's straightforward honest performance style during Hollywood's startic transformation. Of the 1950s and 1960s, the legendary actor, despite high-end noble talent and cultural influence, represented everything Garner found pretentious about the theatrical moment that prioritized internal exploration over clear, truthful storytelling. The creative discord emerged when both actors were being considered for similar dramatic roles that required balancing emotional depth with accessible characterization. According to sources within the New York Times, Garner allegedly expressed a frustration with Brando's elaborate operation rituals and tendency to disappear completely into characters, feeling that such extreme methods serve its actor's ego more than the story's needs. Acting coach Stella Adler called, "Moran brought incredibly complexity to his work." But Jim believed that all that inner-now wrestling should remain invisible to the audience. The philosophical divide became apparent when Brando's mumbling delivery and unpredictable behavior contrasted sharply with Garner's commitment to clear communication and professional reliability. Director Elliot Kazan observed, "Marlon was always searching for some deeper truth beneath surface, while Jim understood that sometimes the surface was exactly where truth lived." These professional cants revealed Garner's unwavering gamut. 2. Authentic storytelling over manufactured personas. His standards illuminated the difference between genuine craft and theatrical indulgence, defending honest performance against Hollywood artifice. Subscribe for more entertainment, tender revelations.